Welcome back to another episode of Should I Stay or Should I Go? You are in the right place if you have been contemplating divorce or if you're already going through the process. We're here to uncover some of those myths, mistakes, and even the messes that we have made and bring some clarity to the process and help shed some light on some healthy outcomes. I'm joined with me today with my co-host, Allison Jeffries, and we have a special guest today, Christy Klein. Christy helps people re-enter the workforce. She helps job seekers find jobs faster. She's all over, not Instagram, excuse me, LinkedIn, and helping people build their LinkedIn profiles. So help me welcome Christy Klein. Hi, Christy.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, we're excited. We're excited to hear all about your story and see where this conversation takes us. So tell us a little bit about what you do and what, like how you get started.
Sure. So in a nutshell, I help job seekers speed up the job search process by providing ATS compliant resumes, career coaching, LinkedIn optimization, and all the things necessary really to get you your foot in the door in front of the hiring manager or a recruiter so that you can land your next great role. Now, how I started this business is really kind of interesting because the birth of my business, if you will, came out of a failure. I failed at the job search process myself, and I'm not afraid to admit that. I tried really hard for a year. So for a year, my job was to find a job, and I failed. And it made me feel about this big. I suffered from shame. I was embarrassed. I didn't understand. I was angry. I was confused. And so after a year of failed attempts, I decided, okay, I need to really figure out what is happening. Like, why am I not even fitting? And so I put a hold on the job search process, and I met with several recruiters and I asked them that question, what am I doing wrong? What do I need to do more of? What do I need to do less of? Is the problem my resume? Is it like, what is happening? And what they shared with me blew me away. And it made sense because I was doing things that actually prevented me from getting the interview. So I started thinking about it, and I was at the time divorced and broke, and figure out, okay, I am almost 50. Age is going to be a problem. How like this is the back half of my life like? And, I came across this term. It's
Can you say that again? You were breaking up on us.
Ikigai, like Ikigai, but it's spelled Ikagai, I think. Anyway, it's the intersection of doing what you love, doing what you're good at, serving others, and making money while you're doing it. And so I took that concept and I plugged in what I'm good at, what I knew, what value I would bring to others. And that's where I came up with this resume writing, career coaching business.
Wait, so backtracking just a second to that acronym, I love that. I need that like at the top of my daily to-do list so I can just remind myself to stay in my lane and to stay focused on doing what I was created to do instead of getting distracted with things I'm not very good at, like working on my lighting and my camera and stuff.
Yep. It's powerful. That word is powerful. I can't believe I can't remember how to spell it, but I'm sure you'll have it in the show notes.
So you said you learned a few things and you learned this acronym. And so how did you dig in to figure out the answers to all those points in that acronym? Because I know sometimes for me, I get quiet, or I think I'm getting quiet, and my brain starts going in so many different directions. And I even question, like, well, I think I'm good at that, but am I really good at that? Maybe I'm not that good at that. So how did you get there?
So I had a journalism degree. I loved to write. I felt I was pretty good at it. And I also loved marketing and the creative side of it. So all of those things combined really are essential when you're developing a resume, because if you think about it, a resume is kind of like a bill.
So Christy, going back to that Ikigai, which is so funny, it's funny to say. Um, how did you figure out the answers to all those questions? Because I think, like for myself, when I sit down and think through those things, my thoughts can go in so many different directions. And while I think I know what my talents are, my gifts are, sometimes we have that little devil that sits on our shoulder and says, you're really not that good at that. So how did you uncover that for yourself?
Sure. So for me, I knew that I was a good writer. I knew that I loved to write. I also knew that I loved the idea of marketing yourself, marketing your business, however that looks. And I like a little bit of creative, but I'm a word nerd, a huge word nerd, right? So I was able to figure out, using the Ikigai principle, I love to write, I love to create, I love to market. So combine all of those with this new knowledge I have about what works and what doesn't work in the job search process. And that's how I kind of came to, this is what I should be doing. Now, for some other people, it may not come as easily. And so for them, I would say start with this: brainstorm a list and do it in the morning when your brain is fresh. Like, don't try to do it after work, after your brain is all fogged. So make a list, just jot down the things that you enjoy doing. Maybe even have a second list, things you don't enjoy doing. And then that third list can be, what are things that come natural to you? Like for me, it's words. And for other people, it might be numbers, So it, or you come up with what you're good at, you come up with what you enjoy and what you don't enjoy. And then look towards your family or friends and ask them the question, hey, you know me really well. What do you think I have a natural ability to do? What's my natural talent? What am I really good at? What am I best known for? And start with that. Once you identify those things, then the next step would be to do some research on the internet. And it's going to take some work, right? But what you're trying to do is find a role that you can take those skills that come easily, that you're good at, that you enjoy, and find that role. And then you have clarity on what role you want to land.
I was muted. That is all such great advice. And I would imagine that would be really helpful to anybody, whether they're re-entering the job market or they're thinking about a career change or leveling up even in their career.
And I want to add also, because I'm also always cognizant of people that are in a tough financial situation. That was me. I had no money, so I get it. And there are free resources out there in the form of like career assessments, career worksheets. What is your passion? I mean, you can find them and they're free. There are some out there that don't cost much at all. So those avenues would be great for somebody that is really tight on funds. But if you can afford it, I really recommend you having the conversation with a specialist, if you will, a career coach, a life coach, not just because they know that business, that area, but also it really helps having dialogue with somebody, because a lot of times they can identify things that you're good at or that you enjoy that you never even really realized. So a lot of great things can come out of having a conversation with a career coach or with a life coach.
I would imagine so. And I know that there's a lot that you can do on LinkedIn. Would you, and you kind of have made that your niche as well. Would you say, just without digging too deep, but like, should people start on LinkedIn with the networking and looking for jobs out there, or just getting in front of people?
Right. So LinkedIn is a huge resource. And, back in the day, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, LinkedIn wasn't as important. what was most important back in the day was having a good resume and a good cover letter. Nowadays, cover letters may be needed. They may never get seen. You just don't know. So the tools in your tool belt for starting your job search would be to have, and I call this the 4 C's, clarity on what you want to do, because a recruiter cannot help you if you're not clear on what you want to do. And a hiring manager can see right through you if you are unsure. So the first step would be to get a little bit more clarity on what you want to do. The second C is career documents. And so that would include the resume, the cover letter, the LinkedIn profile. And then the third thing, or the third C, is customization. So when you have a resume and you're applying to different roles, you want to make subtle tweaks and adjustments in your resume so that you are answering the pain points of your employer. And those pain points can easily be spotted in the job posting. So that's where I would start.
Those are great.
And I need to mention also, because I hear this all the time, people that haven't been in LinkedIn or on LinkedIn in years or ever, they, so I hear this all the time. I hate social media. I don't want to add another social media to keep track of. LinkedIn is different. LinkedIn is for professionals with professional mindsets. There's a lot of learning going on. There's a lot of networking going on. So don't think of LinkedIn as the other social media platforms. But the second thing that I absolutely have to say about LinkedIn is, if you have a profile and you haven't updated it, it is either working for you or against you 24/7. It is the billboard for advertising you. And so when a recruiter lands on your profile, you want to make sure that it is giving the recruiter or the hiring manager the right message. You know, it's a huge missed opportunity if you are not on LinkedIn.
So no pictures with all your pets around you or any of that. It's more professional.
So I'm sure Allison has seen this a lot as well. There is controversy over posting personal things on LinkedIn. And, you know, for every person that says don't do it, there's somebody that says you can. The way that I look at it is, it's predominantly a professional platform. So Monday through Friday, I stick to professional topics, professional pictures, that kind of thing. But on the weekend, that is the opportunity for you to do something a little bit more soft. As a matter of fact, they have this social Saturdays on LinkedIn, and you hashtag social Saturday and you post something personal, whether it's you and the family out on the boat or hanging with your dog or sipping your coffee. So there is room for a little bit of personal interaction on LinkedIn, but it's predominantly a professional platform.
That's all great information. Allison, do you have anything you can think of that we need to have Christy talk about?
Well, I just love everything you've said, Christy, because there's so much that goes into finding a job, and having been at that spot at one point in my life where I needed to find a job and the algorithm wasn't working for me. So everything that you've shared is so important. And I suggest to anyone out there that hasn't looked for a job in a while, reach out to Christy, reach out to someone like Christy to find out what is going on. So Christy, before we end, I do have a question I'd love to ask. Job search can be kind of frustrating and demoralizing. And for the women that are listening to this video, they've got a lot of things going on in their life. If you could give 1 or 2 pieces of advice about what, to help them get through this process and motivate them to know that it's not going to be as bad as we worry about, what would that be?
So 2 things come to mind. A lot of things come to mind, but the 2 biggest ones that I keep thinking about is, number 1, surround yourself with a team of people that are going to be your cheerleaders, that are going to be your positive encouragers, if you will. It's going to be really important that you have these positive minded people around you, because there will be times that you get frustrated or you feel like you can't do it, you know, and it's okay to have a bad day. It's okay to get down and frustrated. Just don't stay there, you know? So that would be my first piece, is surround yourself with a team of people that can lift you up. And then the second thing is know the value that you bring an organization and be able to clearly communicate that to the hiring manager, to the recruiter, to the person that you're asking referrals from. You know what your value add is to that organization, because that's what a recruiter wants to hear from you. So
Thank you, Christy. That was fantastic. And you made me think of a book that I use and used to use when I worked in the corporate world. And do yourself a favor. If you don't know your value, if you can't articulate it and say it comfortably, get this book right here. All you have to read is the first little 36 pages, and it's big print. So it's not a big job if you don't like to read. And then you go online and you take the test. And the test is going to come back and give you your top 5 strengths. It's going to tell you how that makes you different, how that makes you special. It's like, you know, being in a cold room and the nurse walks in with those warm blankets and wraps one around you. It's really a great feeling.
yes.
And that will give you something to go to Christy with, to be able to tell her what it is and who you are. And it's going to help move that process along a lot more quickly.
Yeah, exactly. And the people on LinkedIn, they are also your cheerleaders. It is such a wonderful, giving community. I mean, you know how I feel about LinkedIn. It's fantastic for many reasons, not just job search.
So, Christy, what would be the best way for people to contact you?
The best way would be on LinkedIn. You can find me under Christy Kline, and that's CLINE. Or you can just go directly to my website and pop me a message. And the website is We Write It Now. So WeWriteItNow.com.
That's fantastic. I love the fact that you're a word person.
Oh my gosh, I am so much a word nerd. I like to say that I play in words all day long. You know, some people have the number mindset. That is absolutely not me, but I can play around with words all day and just love doing it.
Well, and words matter, right?
Yes.
I mean, the adjectives you choose, the way you deliver something, all those words matter.
Well, and they can help you connect with people, whether it's the hiring manager, whether it's somebody that is a connector and they're going to connect you to somebody at your target company. You know, words connect people, stories connect people, and it all goes back to that relationship building. You know, leverage the power of your network, leverage the power of your friends, leverage the power of your family. Don't what is the term when you just get so into yourself and you're like this? Don't do that. Let people into your world. Let people help you. There are good people out there.
That is such a great message to end on too. So thank you so much for joining us today, Christy. I've actually learned a little bit too, and you've reinforced some things I already knew. And so we really, really appreciate that. Appreciate having you here. And we know that all the women listening are going to gain so much value by hearing what you had to share today. So thank you.
I hope so. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. So that's a wrap. Until next time. It's you've been watching the Should I Stay or Should I Go episode on job seeking, starting your career. Have a great time, great day, everybody, and we'll see you next time.